I'm Olivia Clementine, and this is Love and Liberation. Today, we sit down with Jetsunma Jamyang Yeshe Palmo. Jetsunma is a Buddhist teacher and retreat master. She spent 9 years in a monastic university studying all of the major subjects of Buddhism, followed by 9 years in a closed practice retreat. She has also studied psychology and Western philosophy and is the vajra master of the study and practice centers of Kusum Khandro Ling retreat and nunneries. Today, we have a spontaneous and brief interview at a cafe in Kathmandu. So we have the great gift of having Jetsunma here, and I spontaneously asked her to talk about a few things. So I'm really grateful that you're willing to do this in this moment. And so the first thing was we were talking about some of the obstacles students commonly come to you with, the first one being ngondro. Do you want to speak about people's feelings around ngondro, feeling like it's not the practice, and just speak about what your advice is for people that are struggling with completing their ngondro or enjoying the process even potentially?
I have observed or noticed this when you put the prerequisite to accumulate the number of ngondro, and mostly people they don't like that accumulations of ngondro, the great number or great number of 100,000, 5 different ngondros each has to be accumulated 100,000 times, and so mostly people, they get like discouraged in between, and sometimes they would say, oh, can we do just 10%, 50% or something like, it's like kind of negotiating with the students and teacher. So of course I can understand, because in this in your busy life, you have your own life and you have your own like domestic things and the works and jobs that you have to do for living. But then the thing is that ngondro is also very important, and never think that ngondro is just kind of just a foundation that opens the door for you to enter the Vajrayana. But for me, I personally think that ngondro itself is the main practice too. So once you bear that thing in your mind, that ngondro itself is the practice, then you won't feel like kind of pressure, or you won't feel like burden of accumulating that great number of 100,000. Once you have the ngondro, it covers the four mind training, right? And then the refuge part, bodhicitta, those different session of practice like Vajrasattva, Mandala, and Guru Yoga. Each and every practice of ngondro, it's not just the foundation itself is the main practice. So once you have, you feel like it's just the foundation or base, then if you try to move on and try to reach the higher practice, you won't find different from the practice of ngondro. It's just the same ngondro, but you will be introduced in a different version when you do the other practices. So I would love to tell people that please try to see the main practice in ngondro, the things that trains your mind in terms of practices of all the nine vehicles, and at the same time it helps us to generate the devotion, generate the patience inside you, and it's basically like testing like what level of patience that you have proceed further practices, the higher practices.
And you were also saying that oftentimes students come and they don't know where they are on the path, and so you reorient them. Will you speak about that? Because that seems like a very common obstacle.
Yes. Yes. So I saw many of the students where some are like in the middle of practice, and some have already achieved a high level of practices, but still they have no idea like where they are. I want to emphasize for them, the thing is practice, but then the more than that is important is that you have to know where you are and what kind of view you are holding and what type of meditation you are doing. It's not just about the differences in the lineage or something like that. It's more about your own practice. right? So the different practices that starts from the foundational vehicle up to the dzogchen practice, there are so many different views and different meditation conduct, and as well as the result too, right? When you know where you are right now and what you are doing, in that way, it would help you get acquainted to yourself. And it also helps you to acquainted to the extensive views of Buddhism, So it's not just following the mass people where they are moving, and it's not just you are following the practice that is most recently trending or something like that. I think more than that, first try to understand the different views of Buddhism and different preferences of the practitioner as well, so that when those preferences and the options of view, it comes together, and when it match, then it would be easier for you to adjust with the practice in your life. So you won't feel that you are practicing or you are making a separate kind of time to practice or those kind of things. No? So in that way, it will help you to blend your life with practice, so that you don't have to say like, oh, these days I don't get time to practice, I'm busy with that. Those kind of things happens when you see the practice in your life separately different, right? That's the reason that I always try to emphasize my students that please first try to get introduced to yourself.
Would it be possible to give an example, like when someone comes up to you and they've done all these different practices, but they don't know where they are on the path exactly?
So, recently people, they participate in the teachings wherever they get, online, in person. They participate in every empowerment. They participate in every drumche, but they have no idea what those practices are done for. What is the purpose and what is the procedure to get into that kind of practice. They randomly just want to get those teachings and that's it, right? But if you really want to be focused on a practice or want to be the serious practitioner, and for that you have to have the full map of the views, meditations, and the different stages of Vajrayana and Sutrayana stance and where they are located. In short, it's the same thing that whenever you want to practice, first have some idea from where you want to start, and is there any option that would relate with my perspective. So in that way, you would feel more related with the views of Buddhism that match with your own perspective and preferences.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So if you really know the view of why you're doing that particular practice, then you can even integrate that into whatever you're doing throughout the day. Will you speak about your thoughts on the importance of stabilizing shamatha, but also the limits and the relationship between that and vipassana and dzogchen?
So shamatha would help us to awaken the concentration, right? Concentration part, and the vipassana is more about the realization, intellectual or awareness, right? According to what I have been trained, shamatha is very important to build the base whenever you want to start the practice, because once you are not disciplined, you can't do anything. Like even in terms of daily life, like when you engage in a job, the thing is you have to have a concentration in whatever you are doing. So concentration is very important, like in everything, not in just in religious term, but even in your daily life. So the thing is, once your mind is disciplined or have the focusing power, then it would be easier for us to build the awareness part too, right? But then if you fully immerse into shamatha, then there would be a disadvantage or bad side effect of that too, because the awareness, in terms of dzogchen, the awareness is more important than the concentration. Of course, you need the concentration, but to some extent you need the concentration, but awareness is more important. So that's why build the base of the concentration through shamatha and then go to the awareness part by doing the analytical meditation, all those things. So once you get used to the practice, the time will come that you won't feel the difference between the shamatha and vipassana. Then during that time, there won't be any separate identification or separate definition of shamatha and versus vipassana or something like that.
And if somebody is wondering, am I at a place with my shamatha that's good enough for vipassana, or dzogchen, enough stabilization. What do you think that is? I know that there's analogies around water and all kinds of analogies.
In terms of time, there is no like uniformity in terms of time that you have to do shamatha for such year or month. But it depends on oneself. Like once you feel like you can concentrate, the concentration that you do on image, concentration that you do through the breathing style, and concentration you do through the sound and everything. Even if you can't reach the highest level of a concentration where it's like unmoving water, even if you don't reach to that level, but still you can go on and practice vipassana. So you will feel like, oh, I can concentrate on that. Comparing to the time when you have no zero concentration power. In our retreat center, usually we do just 7 days. 7 days, but retreat center is quite different from the outside life because retreat center is intensive. We do the intensive practice from 4 a.m. to the 9, sometimes 10 p.m. So you spend the whole time in concentration and shamatha. So in that sense, we do only like 7 days shamatha practice.
And that's for the 3-year retreat?
Yeah, inside the 3-year retreats. And in retreat, you are like inside the boundary where you cannot communicate with others, and which is quite different from the outside life. But if you are outsider, not intensive retreatant, so maybe like a year and a half, maybe. Yeah, I think it would show the effect if you do properly. In our retreat center, we do the Shine after full mind training that turns your mind to the Dharma. So before doing Shine, I personally think it's important for us to have gone through the full mind training of understanding the importance of human life, and for mind training of understanding the impermanence, and for mind training of understanding the karma. Going through a training that helps you to turn your mind toward the Dharma a little bit, then it would be more helpful in doing Shine. Because once you understand that all the mind or whatever thinking and thoughts, all those are like illusion that keeps on moving. We are the one that just hold the stream or the moment of our thought, and we grasp the stream of consciousness and we take it seriously, and then from that the self-grasping, all those starts. So once you have like that kind of substantial idea about the reality or truth, then I think it would be helpful for people who does Shine.
And is there anything else you think would be beneficial for people to know about?
If I think about the people in general, not just the practitioner, the main Four Mind training, or you can say the Four Noble Truth, and all those are just a universal view of Buddhism. I wish people they know that whatever is taught in the Four Noble Truth and whatever is taught in the Four Mind training, that is focused on the reality of suffering, the reality of impermanence, the reality of karma, and all those things. So regardless of the boundary of the religion and capitalistic world, I wish people they know that this is the universal perspective. I think it would help mass people, the general people, to cope in their daily life stress and even in their lifetime. I think if they know the truth.
Would you want to, just as we close, in case someone's unfamiliar, will you summarize the Four Noble Truths?
The Four Noble Truths is, of course, the suffering of birth, suffering of dying, and suffering of aging. It's universal aging, right? And the illness is also the same thing. So that is the first Noble Truth, right? And then the cause of the aging, dying, and all those is when you are born, of course, you have to die. So, right? So when you are born, there should be a source from where you are born. So once you don't believe in the creator, once you don't believe in the designer or something like that, that exists in other religion, then we have to identify what's the source of being born in the samsara. So for that, it takes you back to the source of the birth in samsara, which is three poisons and the karma. So three poisons is the karma that is related with your emotion, and the karma is the thing that is related to your physical conduct. So that is the source of suffering. To stop that source of suffering, you have to apply a method to get rid of those poisons and the negative conduct that you perform in your life. So for those kind of things, you need shine or hatong. You have to train your mind. You have to correct your behavior or the negative habits that you have. Of course, that is universal. Once you know that you are suffering from diabetes, of course, you have to work against the diabetes to cure that. You have to change your lifestyle, your eating style, diet style. So it's just the same thing. So once you have done that, what you are supposed to do, then of course you will see the result, the consequence, and that's the fourth noble truth. When you have this idea of the four noble truth, it would help the general people whenever you have this problematic situations and suffering. So it's like kind of proactive.
Thank you, Jetsunma.
Thank you.